You don't know how hard it is to win a championship. You don't know how hard it is to win a championship.
Everybody eviscerating Tracy Mcgrady.
Because in 15 or 20 years, I don't want to be sitting somewhere talking about what I could have done.
You're already ahead of the game.
This shit bothers the shit out of me.
That's it.
Like,
You have
Kobe was
mentality.
better than T-Mac because he wanted to be better than T-Mac. I saw somebody on Twitter say something that was so real. T-Mac is a building that had 100 floors. He went up to 75. Kobe was a building that had 90 floors and he went up to 90. So I don't like this type of shit. He wanted to be better than T-Mac. He had to be better than T-Mac. He was willing to give his body, his reputation, all of that to be better than T-Mac. So much of greatness, when we talk about it, is in what people are willing to sacrifice and dedicate to it. And that's really the Kobe thing. Now, Jordan was a motherfucker. Jordan had that same thing, but Jordan building had 100 floors as well. He might have had 110 to his. And so Jordan was different. But shit, that hurt me that T-Mac was sitting up there acting like a loser. Like talking about you or Tracy Mcgrady. Making excuses about it, man. There was a lot of excuse making last week and a lot of people that seemingly don't have no self-awareness. Like,
that part.
Yeah, like what the fuck is going on?
That's a conversation. You could tell he's had that conversation multiple times and he should have continued to have that conversation in private. Because that's not a conversation that you bring out to the public. Because immediately when I heard it, I thought, stop.
And I'm going to be honest with you, it's not like T-Mac didn't have anybody. T-Mac had some good teams. Not really in Orlando, but in Houston, we're talking about.
Yeah, for sure.
Meta, Yao, when Yao was on the court, Shane Battier. There were guys there with him. And he just didn't do what Kobe did to get to where Kobe was. He just didn't do it. He didn't do it. He was a bad motherfucker. Do not get me wrong. Tracy Mcgrady was a bad motherfucker, but Kobe was doing it on defense. Kobe had to win. He had to be the best. There's something wrong. So I don't know, man. I don't know, but I'm going to tell you guys about...
I created this platform called Dream, right? Where you can use your imagination to create scenarios that never happen, but you can make them come to life, right? So scenarios like you wanting to play with certain guys, feel the exhilaration of winning with those guys, you can come to the platform, you can put it in the prompt. I want to see what happens when I play with Shaq. And then it'll show you, right? Because it's called recall, and recalling your imagination. But when you step out of recall, it's back to reality. The reality is there's only one guy who did that. So everybody else can imagine all they want about what would happen if you was to do this or that with this guy. We can't stop your imagination. But what we can say is in reality, there was only one guy who did these things, right? And he did it by backing up all of these things. So regardless of what you think should exist or shouldn't exist, when you want to come and imagine being something you're not.
In the Matrix, just come in the Matrix.
Just come over here, put it in the prompt, we'll make it a movie, we'll make it a documentary, and we can live forever.
The Dream, right? It's called. That's a good platform. The Dream.
The Dream.
You could be what you want to be in the
Man. So I could put this on and be somebody if I want to. I could wear the belt. You know what I'm saying? I can wear jerseys like this. This is a jersey. I just want to be, I want to be. But I'm just saying, like, imagination is everything. Imagination is everything.
Don't lose that. Tell people don't.
The reality is Kobe Bryant, 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004, 2005, 06, 07, 08, 09, 2010, 11, 12. And I want to even say 13. There's not another player in the NBA that I would take over that version of Kobe Bryant. You know, you look at guys like T-Mac, AI, Vince, KG. You know, let's just focus on the perimeter players. There was moments where they could look Kobe eye to eye, talent-wise, ability-wise. But what separated him ultimately from these guys was his will, his fire, his passion for the game, and his work ethic. You know, and that's what made him, I think, the only player, and I mean no disrespect to LeBron James, man, The only player that I feel that you could put over Kobe Bryant is Michael Jordan. And I think Kobe was more skilled. He was more enhanced, more extended version of his repertoire because of his footwork, his ball handling ability, his low post game, the counters, the difficult shot making, the fluidity. When you look at what his arsenal was, his scoring prowess, how sharp he was, the defensive tenacity against the guys that he guarded night after night, and then the defenses that he destroyed year after year, the zone coverages. Like, I don't think there was a player as advanced in basketball as Kobe Bryant. And, it's more so than the skill and the ability and the eye test, because, T-Mac was cold. Probably a top 10, 15 eye test. Iverson, same way. Vince, KG, all these guys up there, But what separated this guy was his hunger and his passion for the game. Because the reality is...
And it worked. And I tell people this all the time too, Kid Jay. Kobe Bryant was not the most talented player that I've seen on a basketball court. Tracy McGrady was more talented.
More athletic, yep.
Vince Carter was more talented.
More athletic, yep.
But, and this is no disrespect to those two, because I love both of those guys.
Right.
VC, unbelievable. Tracy McGrady, unbelievable. Both Hall of Famers, no doubt about it, right?
Respect.
But they didn't have that Kobe had.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why when he would go against those guys, he would shine. Plus the fact that when he went against those guys, it was like
he looked for those guys.
Yeah. He looked.
Yeah.
That was his motivation.
Yeah. Talk about
he looked to play against the best guys. Yeah. LeBron, no, I'm guarding him.
Yeah.
You don't see superstars today say, I want the best player on the team. I want to guard him.
They ain't built like that.
We played a game against Orlando when they had Tracy McGrady. Tracy had 26 and a half.
Ooh.
We go in at halftime. I'm like, hey, man, the guy that's guarding him, you guys got to do it. Kobe said, Coach, I got Tracy.
Talk about
Tracy ended with 30.
4 points.
4 points in second half.
At the free throw line.
4 points second half. So that was his mentality. That's why he's one of the greatest of all times.
T-Mac was on a team, never playing, when the Spurs made it to a finals. Sitting on the bench. None of them knows what it's like to even be in the Eastern Conference Finals or Western Conference Finals. They were jealous because I want to go to T-Mac. Love T-Mac as a player. He's almost everything Kobe Bryant was. As far as the ability. As far as the skill set. You were almost everything Kobe Bryant was. To the letter. Defensively, T-Mac, I heard somebody said T-Mac didn't play defense. T-Mac did play defense. He was a good defender. But let's get real. Let's get real here. Because I want people to understand what it is that we're talking about when we start saying, oh, this is what happened, this is what goes along. And he said, if you'd have replaced me with, take Kobe away and put me on that team, there's no way we don't win a championship. We don't win no championships? No. They don't win one championship with you. And you want to know why, T-Mac? You don't have the it factor. Vince had the it factor. Your cousin, he had it. You didn't have it. You was just a great player. You didn't have the killer instinct. You didn't have the tenacity. You didn't have that intensity that when the rubber meets the road, they know that they can go to you in the playoffs when it really mattered and you would come through. You have failed impressively at that consistently. So when they were down 14 to the Portland Trail Blazers in the fourth quarter, pushing and vying to go to the next level, win the game and you go to the NBA Finals. This game 7. against Portland. They down 14 in the fourth. You don't have enough poise in you to will that team back. And I'm talking as a fan of T-Mac. I'm somebody that's a huge fan of T-Mac, the way he played, footwork, offensive game, defensive game, his length, his long arms, his range. He was incredible. But he lacked that element. And I got to see it year after year after year. T-Mac was ridiculed in his whole career of never getting out of the first round. And he blamed Grant Hill not being there as the reason why. They were up 3-1. All they have to do is win one game, and they couldn't do it. This happened numerous of times under his wing, saying he never had the opportunity. T-Mac, you played with Yao Ming. Yao Ming and Shaq are the 2 number 1 centers in the game.
Good friend Tracy McGrady, who does it not once, but multiple times. Firstly, suggesting that he could have won championships with Shaquille. And look, in the video I referenced earlier about T-Mac, I talk about just how elite he was offensively during his stretch of dominance in the early 2000s. But Kobe Bryant was first or second team All-NBA defense every season the Lakers went to or won a title during the Shaq tenure in LA. McGrady was never All-NBA defense. Kobe, meanwhile, was arguably the best perimeter defender in the NBA at that time. In addition, Bryant was the undeniable closer. In fact, Kobe led the Lakers in clutch time scoring during all 3 title runs in the postseason. Now, can we definitively say that McGrady can't fulfill the defensive roles and clutch time responsibilities that Kobe did? I mean, I personally don't think so. But more to the point, couldn't we just have said that if prime McGrady had been paired with prime Dwayne Wade and prime Chris Bosh, he also could have won multiple rings with them? Why do we only do this shit with Kobe?
So stopping that right there when it comes to T-Mac, I don't want to bash this guy too much. But looking at McGrady's overall career compared to his talent, it was severely underwhelming. Because again, T-Mac, the individual player, 6'8", a great handle, great jump shot. This guy offensively could do anything and everything at his peak. But like a lot of more players nowadays who are ringless, was McGrady go to off the jump? You know, I never had help, my teammates weren't that great, woulda, coulda, shoulda, if, this, that, XYZ, hypothetical. And looking at prime T-Mac from 02 to 08, this guy didn't have the most stacked rosters, but had capable rosters that at least once should have made it past the first round. In 02 versus the Hornets, that series was very, very winnable. They lost in 5. 03 versus the Pistons, a better Pistons team. No, they weren't the favorites, but they were up 3-1, blew that series. 05 versus the Mavs, losing in 7 games, a hard-fought series, but again lost in the first round. Then 07 and 08, who they lose to back-to-back. Not the Spurs, Mavericks, Suns, but the Utah Jazz. So Tracy McGrady all this time later kind of painting with a broad brush, they never had help, never had a chance. That is inherently false. And what we're talking about is first round wins. I'm not talking championship East Finals appearance, I'm talking one series win. Prime T-Mac never did that in Houston or Orlando.
In those situations, he delivered. What's to say you would have? How do we know that? What other evidence do we have to say that you delivered? I didn't even know that T-Mac took it as far as when Stephen A. Smith said you blew a 3-1 lead. T-Mac then threw in Kobe. Kobe threw in I'm like, yo, bro, ain't that your man? Isn't that your man? My question is, would you have said this when Kobe Bryant was around? Would you and Kobe still be cool if you said that? And the thing is, why is all of these NBA dudes now all of a sudden trying to make it? I said it in the other show, I'm going to say it again. Now they're trying to enhance their greatness by proxy. Oh, I mean, Kobe was good, but I was good too. And they try to diminish what he's doing, like you see. But if I had that, I couldn't be. No, you couldn't have. No, you could not have. I'm sorry, it don't work like that, bro. From a basketball standpoint, he was better than all of them. T-Mac was incredibly skilled, and I'm just stunned that we're even talking about Tracy McGrady like this, because he was one of my favorite players growing up. I'm stunned. T-Mac was a dynamo offensively. Kobe was a dynamo offensively and defensively. There's a fundamental difference. There is a fundamental difference. You want to do hypotheticals? So if you put T-Mac on that Lakers team, they're going to go beat the Celtics. Man, stop your nonsense, bro. Stop the nonsense. I'm just surprised that T-Mac did. I'm very surprised that Tracy McGrady chose Kobe to be the one to make it. I just watched the video of him and Kobe when they had to sit down with Rachel Nichols. When T-Mac was like, yeah, I used to stay with Kobe, man. Kobe used to show me the way, and I'm just on him. Who knew years later it would be the same one trashing Kobe Bryant on EA? Who knew? Who knew? You got dudes pulling up good games that they had against Kobe, and I'm like, and? Is that all? That's all it took for you to be on Kobe's level? Are you even serious? Are you even serious? If you never made a defensive team, you don't get to even compare yourself to Kobe Bryant. If you never made not even one defensive team in your life, you don't even get to compare yourself to Kobe. Kobe is tied for the most all-defensive selections by a guard in history with Gary Payton. He has 12 of them. 9 all-first, 12 overall. You don't get to compare yourself to somebody like that. I'm sorry, you don't. You don't. I never saw none of these dudes average 35 in a season. I never saw it. I never saw it. I never saw any of these dudes outscore an NBA team in 3 quarters. I never saw it.
All right. Now, I don't know what got into Tracy McGrady to make him say this kind of thing. Right? But a lot of points were made in these videos. You know, sitting back, I'm just wondering, why use Kobe? Why use somebody who's not here to defend himself? And why not use LeBron James? Like Scap Attack says. LeBron James, arguably, has had the most all-star help of any player in NBA history. So when you talk about, you not having enough weapons, why not say something like, oh, if I had Anthony Davis, or if I had Luka, or if I had D Wade, why do you automatically go to Shaq? One player. That I don't get. But when you consider that, and when I consider everything that's being said here, I gotta just boil it down to possibly really being jealousy. Okay? Because I think that McGrady probably wished or thought that his career should have ended in the way that Kobe's did. With titles, with the love of the fans, right? With, a unanimous Hall of Fame vote, right? Nobody's questioning that. With an actual top 75 edition, right? And many more accolades. An MVP, many more accolades. But it didn't go that way. But the thing that McGrady needs to accept is that he wants all of this without putting in the work that McGrady did. He wants all this without putting in the work that Kobe did. Right? Some may argue that Kobe dedicated himself more than anybody else in the history of the NBA. That can be argued, but that cannot be argued about McGrady. But yet, he wants the same recognition. He wants us to believe that he could have done the same thing that Kobe did, right? If he had players that are similar to Kobe. Right, I was thinking about this last night, and I thought about the team that Kobe dragged yes, I'm saying dragged to the NBA Finals, right? Featuring the player that you guys all of a sudden want to turn into a superstar, a Hall of Famer, Paul Gasol. And another superstar Hall of Famer, according to you guys, Lamar Odom. And I thought about it, and I just wondered, what did these guys do without Kobe? What did all the players that Kobe won with do without Kobe? What did Shaq do without Kobe? Shaq won one title. Shaq went to a few finals, got swept with Penny Hardaway, and Dwayne Wade pulled him to another finals. What did Kobe do without Shaq? Went to 3 finals as the top dog, won 2 of them. And this is against a team full of Hall of Famers in Boston. And then Dwight Howard, another Hall of Famer. Now, one thing that I thought of as well was, look, what did Gasol do? Did Gasol win any titles without Kobe? Can somebody let me know? Did you hear anything about Bynum after he left LA? After he left Kobe's side? You hear anything about Odom before he played with Kobe and after? Huh? How about Derek Fisher? How about Ron Artest? Okay, he was Defensive Player of the Year, 2003, I believe. But in terms of winning, right, these guys are so great. Right, the fact is here, Kobe is a common denominator with all of these players. Kobe's a common denominator when it comes to winning in these situations. Okay? So y'all need to put some respect on his name because he won better than 99% of you guys did. And that load is on him also. If not only on him, it's shared equally with Shaq. So y'all need to put some respect on Kobe's name forever. All right, and that's about it. So until next time.